So it's not gonna be a long intro to this video. What's good? How you day going? Morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this video. As you can hear, my voice is coming back. Ain't gonna be a long intro though, because I do think I know this story though. I do think I know it. But check out, this girl died horrifically twice by the homie Mrballen. Not in that order though. But regardless though, it's definitely rest in peace to her, man. And I'm not gonna lie, the way I'm taking that title is I'm taking twice it happened horrifically, both times too though. Where it's like, there's about to be some ugly shit, because it's a short video as well. But yo, either way, go about to go and watch the video. Want to check out the original video, link will be in the description below. But let's go.
In 2015, a young man living
in Honduras. That quality. Oh, he getting that YouTube money. Hold on, because I bet it goes up to like 4K now. Watch. Oh no, it's still 1080p, but I bet this shit is recorded in 16K. Hold on, okay, go back.
In 2015, a young man living in Honduras made his way to the local cemetery, and he found his wife's gravesite, and he leaned up against it and he quietly began to cry. Seconds later, something would happen inside of that cemetery that would not only cause the young man to go silent, get up, and start running, but it would also be caught on camera. But before we get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place, because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So if that's of interest to you, please invite the like button to come to the zoo with you, and then cover them in honey and push them into the bear enclosure. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's stories.
Man. I don't know if it's gonna be like a ghost story or like legit humans now.
In the spring of 2021, 52-year-old Texas resident Karen Davis got married, and then after the ceremony and after the honeymoon, she went through the process of changing her last name from Davis to McBride to match her husband's last name. After the change was done, the last step was to get a new driver's license with the new name on it. So Karen emailed the local DMV, or Department of Motor Vehicles, to set up a time for her to come in and make the change to her license. But after she sent that email, the local DMV immediately emailed Karen back, and they told her that they could not help her with this request until she resolved an issue. Now, they didn't specify what this issue was. However, they very cryptically said it had something to do with the state of Oklahoma. And then at the bottom of the email, there was just a phone number they told her she needed to call in order to resolve this issue. And so Karen's thinking, okay, that's pretty weird, but I did used to live in Oklahoma, so that probably has something to do with it. And so, not thinking much of it, she punched this number the DMV had given her into her phone,
Stolen identity.
Then she let it ring. A few moments later, much to Karen's shock, a woman from the Norman, Oklahoma District Attorney's Office picked up the phone and said, "How can I help you?" Karen immediately assumed that the DMV must have made a mistake, that maybe they were trying to give Karen some other number in Oklahoma, because this was an Oklahoma problem, and they had mistakenly given her the number to the DA's office. But since she had this woman on the phone, Karen told her, hey, I was just trying to get a new license in Texas. They told me there was some sort of issue. It had to do with me potentially living in Oklahoma. I don't know what it is, but this is the number they gave me. So I'm sure it's a mistake, but that's why I'm calling. The woman from the DA's office had no idea who Karen was, but after taking down Karen's information and looking on her computer, she discovered Karen's so-called Oklahoma problem. And after she explained to Karen what this enormous problem was, Karen literally couldn't believe it. But after this woman went over the details a few more times and...
I'm sorry, I'm like super duper focused right now. Whoa, it's not because I'm high, but yo, I'm legit imagining me in those shoes, like, all right, like, yo, I'm just calling because I gotta get a new ID, whatever. They're like, yo, no, you gotta call the DA. Oh, hell no. I think I just hang up. Fuck that license. Fuck that last name, dog. I'm gonna have to stay this name. But in all honesty, though, you wanna know something crazy, man? Like, legit, if that's for real, you do want to know, regardless. That's not the crazy part. That's, like, logical, right? Common sense, I would say. But, all right, so my car supposedly got repoed. I'm going to make it short. I ain't going to talk forever, right? But, stupidly, man, I left my damn, freaking, passport. Couldn't think of the name. But to this day, I be wondering, like, yo, what if dude is, wherever he at, his name was Habib. Wherever he at, I'm like, dog, what if his name is Charlie now? So that's why with this story, I'm a little intrigued. But I'm not too worried about my life-wise because I got the IQ identity thing, theft thing. The little program, whatever, I got that crap, which is only like, it's like $1 a month anyway. But yeah, I ain't tripping. So they let me know, like, no, everything good. Like, all right, cool.
Couldn't believe it. But after this woman went over the details a few more times and really showed Karen that this Oklahoma problem was very, very real, suddenly everything in Karen's life made sense. For the last 22 years, Karen, who was incredibly smart and friendly and polite and never had a problem with anyone, had an incredibly hard time getting a job. Even jobs that she was extremely qualified for, she would get turned down for someone who was way less qualified. And then, in the rare times that Karen did actually get hired, she would always get fired for no reason. And so Karen never understood why she was being treated this way until now. It would turn out 22 years earlier, which is when Karen's hireability issues began, she lived in Norman, Oklahoma, which is where the DA's office was that she would end up calling 22 years later. And when she was living in Norman, she lived with a roommate. And this roommate was this nice young man who had a couple of young kids. And one weekend, he went to the local movie store called Movie Place, and he rented the hit 90s movie, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, to watch with his kids. And after he was done watching this movie, he didn't return the VHS tape of Sabrina the Teenage Witch back to Movie Place. Now, normally when this happened, the movie store would just hit the card holder with lots of late fees, which was actually great for the movie store. They made lots and lots of money on individual people that just forgot to return their movies. And if the card holder just continued to hold on to this delinquent movie, at some point the movie store would just hit them with a final fee that basically accounted for the total cost of the VHS tape that they had effectively stolen. And then at that point, the matter was resolved. The card holder owned the VHS tape, whether they knew it or not, and the movie store simply moved on. But in this case, Movie Place in Norman, Oklahoma didn't think that was enough. And when Sabrina the Teenage Witch was not returned in a timely fashion, they pressed charges against the card holder. And the card holder was Karen Davis. The roommate had just borrowed her card. And somehow, these charges against Karen were never...
It must have been like I'm taking, because even though they show Blockbuster, obviously it wasn't Blockbuster for you to read everything, right? But I take it this was like some mom and pop store or like some local store or whatever. So for them, it probably was like, yo, we can't afford to lose anything. So even though it was Sabrina the Teenage Witch, we still about to sue that ass.
Was Karen Davis. The roommate had just borrowed her card. And somehow, these charges against Karen were never brought up to Karen. She was never contacted by anyone. And so for 22 years, she was technically a wanted felon. Meaning, every time one of her employers, either during the interview process or after she was hired, when they would run a criminal background check on her, it would pop up she was wanted for felony embezzlement. And so this was the reason she kept not getting jobs and kept getting fired.
Those jobs are not about to let you stay there for that, though. I knew it.
Embezzlement. And so this was the reason she kept not getting jobs and kept getting fired from jobs. Since discovering these charges, Karen worked with the Norman, Oklahoma DA's office and got these charges dismissed.
Get him expunged. That was a good story, though.
You know what really makes me want to...
I am going to leave all the links for Mrballen sponsor in the description as well below. About to get back to the next story, though. What's wrong with mommy? That's a fucking title.
In the early evening hours of December 24th, 2011, so Christmas Eve, 26-year-old Zazel Preston sat on her bed in her little apartment in Anaheim, California, and wrapped Christmas gifts for her children. Laying next to her was her newest addition to the family, her third child, a 7-week-old little boy. This Christmas was a big deal for Zazel. It was also a big deal for her husband, 30-year-old William Wallace, not only because it was going to be the first Christmas with their new son, but also because this was the first Christmas after Zazel and William had reconciled their relationship. They had been married for the past 3 years, but over those 3 years, their relationship had been very unhealthy and toxic and at times abusive. But earlier that year, when Zazel had discovered that she was pregnant, this baby became kind of like a new anchor point for their relationship. It was like suddenly they could put their differences aside and just focus on raising their kids together. After wrapping her final present, Giselle hopped off the bed, she scooped up her little boy, and then she headed out into the living room where she met up with her husband and her 2 older children, who were little girls aged 3 and 8, and then they all headed outside and went next door to celebrate Christmas Eve at a party with their neighbors. Early the next morning, so on Christmas Day, Giselle's 2 oldest children, the 2 girls, they got up early and they rushed out of their bedrooms and they ran down the hallway into the living room where their parents were waiting for them on the couch along with their baby brother. The living room was completely decked out with Christmas decorations that the family had put up over the past couple of weeks. The Christmas tree was in the corner with bright multicolored lights and ornaments all over it. There were wreaths on the wall and other string lights around the top of the room. And then over their fireplace were all of their stockings nailed up, stuffed with goodies. The little girls squealed with delight and ran around the couch and took up spots right underneath the Christmas tree, and they grabbed their first present and they turned and looked at their parents on the couch and they saw their dad kind of give them a nod of approval, which meant, okay, you can start opening your gifts. And so the girls happily began tearing into the festive wrapping, and then after each of them had their brand new toy in hand, they turned around reflexively to show their parents. And so William, he sees the toys and he says, oh, they're so great, guys. And then when the girls, they look at their mother and they show her the toys, she doesn't even react. She completely ignores them. And so at some point, you know, these little kids, they start yelling for their mom, hey mom, check it out, look at this new toy. But Giselle just sits there. She doesn't say a word. She's just sitting back on the couch, completely ignoring them. Finally, the 8-year-old turns to William.
Nick Crowley story, dog. Come on, man.
She's just sitting back on the couch, completely ignoring them. Finally, the 8-year-old turns to William and says, what's wrong with mommy? And at this point, William pauses, and then he gives Giselle a scathing look before very bluntly saying to these young kids, mommy got drunk, and now she's ruined Christmas. The girls knew from William's tone of voice that their parents must be fighting, and so they did what they normally did when this happened, and that was to just try to ignore it. And so the little girls, they...
Oh my gosh, man, he did say it was Christmas morning at this time, right? My bad, I'll holler in your ear. Come on, man, this is bullshit, because I already know where this is about to go, man. In front of the kids on Christmas morning, I wouldn't even have a balls to sit there and argue with my girl in front of my kids on Christmas morning as they opening the gifts, having the time of their fucking life, because they gonna remember this forever, dog. Probably want them kids to get their gifts like 2 days later. But regardless, though, the memories, they will stick with you forever. Man, come on, I ain't about to get all preachy on your ass today. I ain't about to do that shit today. I came to smoke my weed, watch some Mrballen stories. I love number one. The first story was really good. Only thing that happened, she got finesse. We ain't getting no death. Finesse the shit out, dog. I ain't getting preachy today. We watching this shit and chilling today.
Kids, mommy got drunk and now she's ruined Christmas. The girls knew from William's tone of voice that their parents must be fighting, and so they did what they normally did when this happened, and that was to just try to ignore it. And so the little girls, they turned away from their parents and began opening more presents, doing...
You legit get to that point where you just like, fuck it, that's what they do. I used to hate hearing that shit. And then you be upset. And it'd be a day, my bad, stop. It'd be a day you be having so much fun too. Like life be just so beautiful. And then next thing you know, you hear your mama down there getting hollered at. Boom, boom, boom. Hearing the wall getting banged. Like, oh, here we fucking go.
To ignore it. And so the little girls, they turned away from their parents and began opening more presents, doing their best not to disturb their parents, who were sitting silently behind them. And then, a little after 9 a.m., after most of the presents had been opened, William abruptly stood up and walked into the other room and placed a phone call. And then, a few minutes later, there was a loud knock on the front door. The night before, after Giselle and William and their kids had left their neighbor's party and come back to their apartment, Giselle and William had gotten into a vicious fight. And by the time the kids had all gone to bed, the fight between the parents had become very physical. Neighbors would recall late at night on Christmas Eve hearing this very loud commotion coming from Giselle and William's apartment. And at some point, apparently Giselle had tried to run out of the apartment, but William had chased after her and hauled her back inside. The sounds coming from their apartment would eventually stop somewhere in the wee hours of Christmas Day. And then as the sun came up on Christmas Day, Giselle and William had made their way to the couch.
So
and they were
sitting there
with their 7-week-old baby, waiting for their 2 oldest to wake up and come open presents. Except when their 2 little girls came out of their bedrooms and bombed into the living room to begin celebrating, only William was alive. Giselle had been beaten to death by William. And after he had beaten her to death the night before, he had dragged her into the living room, set her up on the couch to make it look like she was sitting, and then put sunglasses on her eyes in order to trick the children. And so all morning, as this 3-year-old and 8-year-old are opening these gifts and turning...
The fact that it's crazy because Weekend at Bernie's, right? It's a movie. I don't know if you're aware of it. The fact that some people really will, like, think to do that shit. It's crazy, dog. Yeah, I was right, though. Those kids, they really will remember this Christmas. They really will. That's bullshit, dog.
And so all morning, as this 3-year-old and 8-year-old are opening these gifts and turning and showing their mother with excitement, she was dead the whole time. But at around 9 a.m., William realized his charade was not going to last because his kids were really keyed in to there being something wrong with their mother. And so that was when he got up and he called 911 and he told them that his wife had gotten drunk and fallen into a glass coffee table. And so she was hurt. And so a little bit later, the police and paramedics, they arrived.
I can already see how that one ain't about to work because fell into a coffee table. If she got beat to death, I take it there's going to be multiple freaking injuries here, dog. There's legit going to be, the impact is going to be crazy as hell. It's going to be to a point where it's like, all right, Les Dawson fell on the coffee table, got up, fell on the coffee table, got up, oh shit, fell on the coffee table. Then I don't know how this happened.
And so she was hurt. And so a little bit later, the police and paramedics, they arrive, they go inside, and right away they can tell William is lying to them. There's more to this story than they're being told. And so ultimately, William would be convicted of second-degree murder, and he would be sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. As for Giselle's 3 children, they are now being looked after by her parents.
That's crazy, dog. That is crazy. And that's exactly why when I do my hardest to raise my daughter, I'm making sure she understands I don't give a fuck even if he verbally abusive. I ain't talking about arguments gonna happen. I'm talking if dog just look like he about to hit your ass one time. Hey, you got a big ass family. For one, let us know. But for two, ain't no reconcile shit. If dog legit ever put his hands on you, legit it's done. We ain't fix it. You ain't fixing shit. Again, I know that's going to be their life, so I can't do shit about that. But regardless, I'm going to make sure she know that.
To 15 years to life in prison.
Rest in peace.
As for Giselle's 3 children, they are now being looked after by her parents.
Christmas would never be the same for them. Ever.
In August of 2015, 16-year-old Nacy Perez suddenly woke up in the middle of the night. As she lay there scanning around the dark, tiny room that she was in, it dawned on her that the most likely reason she had just woken up is because she really needed to use the bathroom. And so she climbed out of her bed and she began carefully walking across the room where her other relatives were sleeping on the floor as she moved towards the back of the house. Nacy lived in a town called La Entrada, which is located in one of the poorest and most dangerous countries in the world, Honduras. But despite the harshness of her reality, Nacy was pretty happy. She had recently married the boy she was in love with. His name was Rudy, and the two of them were both very excited about their first child, which was due in a matter of months. So Nacy reached the back of her house, she pushed open the back door, and she stepped out into the hot night air, and then she made the familiar walk across her backyard toward the outhouse. But Nacy would never reach the outhouse. The next morning, Nacy's mother woke up first. Her name was Maria, and as she passed by the back door, she looked outside and she saw Nacy lying on the ground. And so Maria, she screams, she runs outside to her daughter, and she flips her over and she's looking at her, and Nacy is unresponsive and she's foaming at the mouth. Now, they're in a part of the world where healthcare was not top-notch, not even close. And Honduras is known for being an extremely religious part of the world. And so Maria did not think, oh, I should send my daughter to the hospital, or I should call a doctor. Instead, Maria and the rest of Nacy's family, who had all streamed outside because of the commotion, they decided to call a priest to perform an exorcism because the belief was Nacy must be possessed with demons. And so a priest was hailed to the residence.
Get the fuck out of here, dog. Dog. What you blowing on over there? That shit smell like Reggie, dog. I ain't come to talk that shit. No, I won't hit that. I ain't come to talk that shit today, for real, though, man. But I will be so hot if that was legit. Like, yo, I'm on the ground dying. Look like I'm still alive, because I'm not gonna lie. I thought at that point, that's when he was about to say he was about to say that she was gone, whatever, blah. That Mrballen was about to say that she was gone, whatever. But it was like, oh, she's foaming at the mouth, whatever. So I'm like, yo, she's still alive. Possibly we could still save the kid, whatever. Get it? Healthcare ain't the shit over there. I get it. I get it. I do. I really don't. I'm privileged. I'm in America. I'm not gonna lie to you. But look though, dog. I wouldn't have thought like, yo, my kid may be possessed. I gotta get this mug exercise. Shit.
Nacy must be possessed with demons. And so a priest was hailed to the residence, and the priest would perform an exorcism on Nacy, but it wouldn't do anything. And so at that point, Maria and the rest of Nacy's family would take Nacy, who was still totally unresponsive and foaming, to the local hospital. But by that point, it was too late. Nacy was dead. When Nacy's family asked the doctors what happened to her, they said they didn't know. And so, heartbroken and confused, Maria and the rest of Nacy's family...
I want to say rest in peace, but I read the damn title. Or was that the second time? Was she actually dead and then she came back alive and then... Nah, that Mrballen wouldn't have did the story like that.
When Nacy's family asked the doctors what happened to her, they said they didn't know. And so, heartbroken and confused, Maria and the rest of Nacy's family brought Nacy back home. They had an ad hoc memorial service, and then they buried her. The following day, Nacy's husband, Rudy, who was totally distraught because he has not only lost his wife, he's also lost his unborn child. He got up early and he just had to go to the cemetery to be with his wife. And so he made his way over to the local cemetery and he found his wife's gravesite. Nacy had not been buried under the earth. Instead, she had been placed into a coffin, and that coffin had been slid into this big hollowed-out cement block that was as big as a coffin. And then once the coffin was slid inside, they walled up the opening. So basically, her gravesite was this kind of freestanding big cement block. And so Rudy finds Nacy's cement block, and he goes up right next to it, and he leans up against it, and he begins to quietly sob. But just seconds later, he would hear something in that cemetery that would cause him to go completely silent, stand up, and sprint away. The day before, approximately 1 or 2 hours after Nacy's coffin was slid inside of that cement tomb and walled up, Nacy woke up. She was never dead. It's unclear what originally caused Nacy to collapse outside of her house on the way to the outhouse, but the two leading theories are, 1, she had a severe panic attack caused by a nearby gunshot, or 2, she had a severe episode of cataplexy. Cataplexy is the sudden, uncontrollable loss of muscle function, often brought on by very strong emotions. A mild case could be...
Yo, the body is so fucking crazy, man. I told y'all know, my bad, bring back to the story. I haven't been on it as much as I should have been lately, but recently I really got into like human analogy. The body, yo, it's some freaky-ish, dog. Your body, it's crazy how your body legit tells you like to fucking think. I mean, to freaking blink, to freaking breathe, or to freaking swallow, man. It's so much crazy shit. Look, yo, oh shit, what was that? Oh no, that's just I'm high. Oh shit. My bad, felt a little chest pain, but basically just from hearing that, it's like, yo, it's like I learn so much different shit every day about the body. It legit. I was watching one video. This dude was kind of explaining like legit how the body is. It's trying to kill you more than it's trying to keep you alive. The shit I was watching was really creepy. Look, you gotta watch it one day. It depends on what you're into. I don't know. But let's get back to the video. My bad. That's why I be telling y'all, enjoy this shit, man. You know how many videos I be editing? I'm like, yo, what if I just don't wake up in the morning and people never see this video? And it's always like when I'm editing like a fire one too. Like, oh, this shit was good. Look, oh, I was funny right there. Look at my ass. My bad, I gotta give you one good long rant before we end the video. You know how we do, my bad. Click that like button real quick, though.
Episode of cataplexy. Cataplexy is the sudden, uncontrollable loss of muscle function, often brought on by very strong emotions. A mild case could be just having your knees buckle for a second. A severe case, which is what they believe could have happened to Nacy, would result in basically complete paralysis. But whatever the case was, the doctors at the hospital got it wrong. When Nacy was brought to them, she was not dead. And so when she woke up inside of her coffin that was encased in cement, she began shrieking and trying to pound up against the inside of these tight walls that were pressed up against her. And at some point, she even managed to force her hands up near her head, and she shattered the glass window that sat in her coffin that looked right down at her face.
Damn, real photo of the broken glass on the coffin. Oh my gosh, man. I'm not even trying to hit you with the overreactor. Do you know how effed up this is, man? Like I said from the beginning, I'm sorry, and I really hate to feel like I'm blaming, but at the beginning, I don't get it. I don't understand it, I should say. Everyone has a different perspective in their life. So I don't understand it personally, I should say. But I just was not understanding, like, why did we jump to exercise so quick? Why not, like, yo, let's get to the hospital first? Damn.
And at some point, she even managed to force her hands up near her head, and she shattered the glass window that sat in her coffin that looked right down at her face.
Please don't show the video.
She broke the glass, but it didn't help her at all because, again, it's just cement on the other side. And so glass shards fell into her mouth and into her eyes. And so she stayed like that, screaming and trying to fight her way out for over 24 hours, trying to get anybody's attention. But nobody heard her. Until her husband, Rudy, he leaned up against her tomb and he put his ear right up against the cement and began to cry. And that's when he heard, through the cement, the sound of his wife calling out for help. Rudy instantly ran and got help, and he and his family came back, and they broke open the side of this tomb, and they pulled Nacy's coffin out, and even though she was now unresponsive, she had a faint heartbeat, and so they rushed her to the hospital, but by the time she got there, she really had died. Nacy had finally just run out of oxygen, likely within minutes of her husband finally hearing her screams.
Rest in peace, dog. I ain't never in my life heard a more fucked up story than that, dog. Rest in peace. Oh, shit. Oh. There's no fucking way, dog. I am so sorry. Rest in peace, man. That's horrible as hell, man. The shit that girl went through, dog. I'm about to wrap this video up, man. Gosh, I gotta stop getting emotional in these videos, man. Hey, look, I'm out, dog. Enjoy your day. Morning. No, I'm gonna edit this out. I'm gonna talk some shit. And honestly, though, before you blame it on the weed, honestly, man, I legit, personally, honestly feel like it's a little bit on the weed, but I do feel like it's mostly on me just getting older, dog. When you really start understanding life, man, and how bullshit it really is. Like, you're raised to think like everything is amazing. Like, people somewhat are amazing. I'm sorry, my parents, they never taught me people are amazing. But basically, you grow up and it's like this facade of everything. Like, everything is just like TV paints out everything. Like, oh, look, everybody's so amazing and wonderful. Wow. And everyone's just here to help each other. It's like bullshit, man. And I'm not saying that to blame anyone in the story for anything. I'm basically just saying that's the reason why I feel like I do be getting more emotional in these videos. Because basically, I understand how this world fucking works. I hate when I get to whisper like this too. I hate like how it's how like blah. I'm fucking teaching myself to how to not give a fuck. I hate that, dog. Never in my life thought I'd see the day I say that. Like, you know what? You gotta not care. You got to. But back to the video. I can't lie. As I was watching that video, it was like, no matter what side I looked at it, it was like I cannot imagine the pain either side was going through. Her, oh my gosh, being cemented in that mug and then wake up. That's hella bullshit. And then I started thinking about the other side. I was like, yo, him knowing his wife and his kid is in there, and then just happened to go that day hearing it though. But legit, imagine not going. Oh my gosh, imagine not going that day and never ever heard that, and then only she knew the bullshit that she went through on this damn planet. But yeah, I already knew. When I read that title, I was like, yep, this is gonna be one of those videos I'm a feel to the soul, huh? Yo, look, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here and enjoy my day. Like I said, rest in peace to Nacy and that baby. Say it again. Go ahead and enjoy your day. Morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this video. But I'm out.